Welcome back, everyone, to Camping with Wade's RV. I'm your host, Willy D, joined with Carly Rush. Thank you for joining me this week.
Hey, it's our third week. We're still doing it.
It's our third week, and I don't think we're going to stop anytime soon. So thank you for everyone who tunes in every Sunday.
Correct.
Here we are. It's been a little bit of a long week. We'll get into it later, but I've actually been hauling units for the Tulsa Boat Sport and Travel Show all week long. And so I got all 50 units down there with me, and then my good friend Alan, who's actually one of our customers. He helped us out as well, and I've been towing those down morning and night and just trying to get a breath. So,
wow. So have you been going up and down the turnpike for all of this?
Not the turnpike, but the highway. So I was going up and down Highway 75 back and forth from the fairgrounds. And
gotcha.
So just,
Okay.
Go down there, drop a trailer, turn around and come back. So it turns into lengthy days, but I have a few podcasts that I listen to. And actually, if you guys want to hear more episodes of Camping with Wade's RV, you can get on the YouTube, and I have every single episode that has ever aired of Camping with Wade's RV, so you can get all of that great RV knowledge.
A lot of information. So you were traveling up and down the highway. Were you able to, if you got tired every once in a while, stop and lay in the back, take a nap?
No, not quite. My breaks were whenever I was unhitching the trailer. So whenever I got to my destination, I unhitched. I usually stepped out, just took a deep breath, and then jump back in and kept going. But I truly love it. Shows are my favorite time of year. For one, it's fun setting them up and getting to see all the different new products. And then also, the reason we have these shows is because we get extra money on these campers. So you can save more money than ever before during the RV and boat show. And so whenever I bring those units down there, let's say I brought an Aspen Trail, my rep over from Aspen Trail is actually going to give me thousands of dollars in discounts. So let's say this camper costs $20,000. It's very possible that camper would be $15,000 at the show. It's not uncommon to see discounts of upwards of $5,000 to $7,000 on normal travel trailers, on fifth wheels, towables, just like that. That's usually the discount that we're seeing. And then Wade also puts a discount on there because we want people to buy campers.
Sure.
And so we want to make sure that we have the absolute best deal. And so whenever we bring those down there, you can take advantage of that deal. Now, when we talk motorhomes, you're talking discounts of $30,000 and $40,000.
Are you kidding me?
I am not.
So
it's
these
incredible.
shows are really, you want to go to these if you're even thinking about getting an RV.
If you're even thinking about getting an RV, you have got to check it out because you're going to be able to buy an RV at a super low cost. People always worry about, whenever I buy a new vehicle, I'm going to drive off the lot and lose so much value. Well, we're going to go ahead and take care of that for you because you're getting such a deal. So you could very much turn around and trade it in, and you'd probably get exactly what you paid for it. It's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of really cool situations happen. I sold an RV to a camper, or to a customer. I sold a camper to a customer.
Well, a customer is a camper.
Yeah, customer camper, pick Peter
A
Pat
camper
to pick
to
a Pepple.
a camper.
Yeah, we got it. So I sold a camper to one of my longtime customers at the RV show, and he came to me about a year later, and he said, "Hey, Will, I'm looking to trade this in." He has a 42-foot Tuscany bus, and he said, "I want a 45-foot. I want a little bit more space in there." And so we went and did the numbers, and it made me smile really, really big because sometimes on motorhomes, there is a big drop in value, years to years depreciation, stuff like that. There can be a drop in value. Well, I pulled up the book value and I looked at it. I knew I gave Tony a good deal. I mean, I knew I did. That's what we do at Wade's RV. But I looked there, and it was actually exactly what he paid for it. I think it was like $2,000 more than what he paid for it.
So he did not lose money driving off the Wade's RV
He
lot.
did not. No, he actually, I think, made $2,000 based on that book value. So there is amazing deals to be had. Now, that was not a brand new one. That was a used unit. But there is still amazing deals to be had where you can take advantage of it. We were up in OKC this past week, and that was an incredible show. It was amazing because there hasn't been RV shows going on right now. And so people have been coming from all over. I mean,
because there are states where they're probably not having any at all.
That's exactly correct. And so I had some folks that came in from Kansas, and so that was a multi-hour drive for them to get all the way to the city, and they were able to take advantage of great deals. They were able to get a camper because there's also a camper shortage, if people haven't heard, and Wade's RV has a lot of campers right now. So we are a gold mine for deals and RVs. We have over 30 of the top brands, so if you're looking for one, more than likely we have it. We have hundreds of RVs on the lot, and at the RV and Boat Show, we're going to have close to 60 units, and so it's just going to be an incredible time. You have got to come down and see us, and that's going to be February 1st through the 7th, so it's going to be an awesome
So
show.
if you're listening right now and you missed the Oklahoma City RV show, last weekend.
Yes, it's not late. You're not too late. You can still take
February
advantage of it.
1st through the 7th, they can come out. And how many RVs are you bringing out?
I'm bringing close to 60, so I'll have close to 60
Is there
units out there.
Room for that many?
Yeah, it's going to be inside the big expo building at the
Still.
fairgrounds. So there is room. There will be a few other RV dealers as well, but they're not going to have nearly as many as
60?
me. Yes,
That's awesome.
my motorhome section is over 10,000 square feet, and that's just my motorhome section. That's not including my travel trailers, my fifth wheels, my toy haulers. If you're looking for it, I'm bringing it down there to that show. It's going to be super cool, and it's a fun time. They have different days, like Monday is VIP night, and they have free beer. I mean, who can go wrong with that? So you got to come down there, check it out, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. Tons of people, lots of RVs, and the Tulsa show is different than the OKC show just because it is so massive. I only had about 16 units up there at the OKC show. 1650, yeah, where there's going to be a little bit of a difference at the Wade's RV booth. So there's lots of that, and it's just, like I said, it's fun setting up and it's fun tearing down because you get to experience things. Not every new RV, not every piece of equipment works. That's why at Wade's RV we do a pre-delivery inspection so we can go through and check every single item. Well, whenever I was bringing units back from OKC, I ran into a little bit of a problem, and it was the first time I'd ever ran into this problem. It was a slide out issue, and it was actually with a cable slide out. And
Now, tell me what that is.
so a slide out is where if you just have your RV and you walk in and it looks all nice and fancy and it's all comfortable, and then those rooms move out.
Oh, the expansion.
Yes, the expansion
of the
part of it.
sides.
That is
Okay.
a slide out. So it'll pop out and it'll expand. Now, what happened was I couldn't get my slide out to come back in. And if I'm leaving OKC, driving to Tulsa, I'm going to need that slide in. It's kind of important. And what happened was I had to end up going up there. I brought a drill with me with a square bit head, and I ended up taking off the fascia because you have to, you got to bring it in. And there's a couple different overrides whenever you're talking about bringing slides in. There's manual ones, which you can literally sit there and hand crank.
Hand crank.
I did one of those the other day. I actually, if you want to get on my Facebook on wadesrv.com, you can actually check out, I got an RV. It was buried in the ground, and I dug it up, put tires, wheels, and everything like that on there, and I had to get the slide back in. And so what I did was I used a manual hand crank on there to bring it back in. A little bit of Willy D delivery diaries. And so I used that to get it back in. But with the cable slide, it was a little bit different. There's not a hand crank. It's very much like a pulley system. And so once I got that fascia off, if you do have a cable slide, this is going to be how you override it if you ever have this electrical problem. You actually take your drill bit and you're going to stick it on the motor, and you just literally pull the trigger on your drill and it'll start slowly bringing it in. And so whenever it turns the gears in that motor, it's slowly going to turn those pulleys and bring it right back in. Now, what happens once you get that slide in? Because sometimes it encloses in a room, and that's exactly what happened with this one. Was it was in the bedroom, and it was the wardrobe slide. So if it wasn't out, you wouldn't be able to walk around the bedroom or get to the bathroom or even get to the living room. So what I did was I used the good old emergency exit, and I actually popped that open, and I actually had to jump out the window. Yeah, I jumped out the window of the RV. I got to use my first RV fire escape as well. So it was a multi
learning experience.
Yeah, I got to learn more than one thing at once. So I got to bring in the slide with the drill. That was a interesting learning experience, and just get to see the process. Once you've done it once, it's super easy, and you're like, oh yeah, no problem. But the first time, it can be a little intimidating if you don't know, where do I need to take off the fascia? What do I need to do? What do I got going on here?
I'd be calling you.
Yeah, call Willy D. If you have RV problems, call Wade's RV and ask for Willy D. I can probably help you out. And if you have RV questions, you can get on Facebook and actually send us a message. Let us know if you have an RV question, and we'll address it here on the show, which we're going to get into here in a bit as well. But I got to learn a lot of experience. I got to use the fire escape, and it just, like I said, it's another part of Willy D delivery diaries. It seems to be what I do a lot at Wade's RV is I deliver a lot of RVs. I get to go camping a lot, and I get to help people out, either find an RV or go rescue them. We've had a few interesting rescue calls before. Wade actually pulled a customer out of a pond. He drove his motorhome into the pond, and Wade brought his bulldozer. That's a great thing about Wade's RV is Wade has tons of tools. So Wade brought his bulldozer, hooked a chain to it, pulled it out, loaded the RV, and took it back, and we actually got it working, and I'm proud to say it's actually back on the road.
That is amazing after being underwater.
Yes, it was. The engine was out, but yeah, the whole back end, it literally just drove right in there. It was late at night, and a customer was checking out some property that he was interested in purchasing, and he brought his motorhome with him. I don't know if that was the best idea, but he did know who to call. He called the experts at Wade's RV, which he purchased his RV from, and we were very thankful for his business, and we went and we rescued him, which...
That's amazing.
It is amazing, but it's just kind of a testament of what we do at Wade's RV. When I was in OKC, I get to talk to a lot of people, which I really enjoy. So if you're out there at the Tulsa show, come find the guy with the mustache.
I was going to ask you, what if somebody comes out there and they're like, I only want to deal with Willy D?
You just ask for Willy D. They'll find me. I'm somewhere. If I'm not there, I'm going to be in Glenpool, and I guarantee they'll call me, and I'll just head on down.
You'll head on out there. You know, you really should just camp out in one of the RVs while you're there.
It's funny. I actually talked about that because it is such a process to set up the show, and it just, it takes, it's all day, every day. I live out in Beggs. There's a lot of driving. I'm like, I'm just going to camp out at the fairgrounds.
You really should do that.
I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my horses taken care of, and I think I'm just moving into Tulsa Fairgrounds. I spend so much time there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and heck, you've got corn dogs right around the corner, some lemonade, and yeah, exactly.
Best food. I'm going to have an RV, so I'm going to have the best living situation. I mean, people might say my job is too much fun because I have a lot of fun all the time. I mean, camping. Who doesn't like camping? And it actually, that kind of leads me to my next point is I had some folks that were brand new RVers. It was really fun getting to help them find their perfect RV. And they were just, really worried about taking that initial step. And I talked to them, like, you guys have to have a hobby. You got to do something. Like, what do you got? Nothing. We just sit. Get outside,
during COVID, a lot of people are a little bit hobbyless, I guess you could say. They don't know what to do with themselves.
And they just have been lost. And I said, you've been looking at this RV. It was kind of convenient for about a year. So I think that's exactly what happened. Whatever they were doing before, they couldn't do it anymore. And I said, just get involved. You know you want to do it. Go ahead and take that leap of faith. And my only cautionary tale whenever I tell people this is careful because you're going to get addicted to camping. So they asked me, how much will we use our RV? And I said, anytime you have free time. I mean, if I'm not working, which my work is camping a lot of times, but I'm out there at the parks and I'm actually out there camping at Wade's RV, we camp. And so it was really fun getting to help them get into a totally new lifestyle that they had never thought about before. And that kind of leads to my next question. So I actually had a very good friend of mine holler at me, and she had a question about RVs. And she asked me, hey, Willy, what is your thought about Class C's versus travel trailers? And that's a question that happens all the time is, do I want to drive one? Do I want to pull one?
So Class C is the drivable kind?
Well, there's different categories whenever you're talking about motorhomes. So whenever I talk about a Class C, if you think about the letter C and you think about a U-Haul van, how it has that kind of hangover right there. Yeah. Looks like a C, right?
Yes.
Well, the motorhomes that have that same front end, usually a Ford front end, have that kind of hangover, that is a Class C. Whenever you talk about a B, it's actually going to be the small kind of conversion van style, you might say, where the back seat folds down to a bed. It'll have usually a little bathroom over on the side and a little kitchen area and stuff, but usually about 24 foot, that's going to be a Class B motorhome. And then whenever you talk about the A's, I just call them the rock star buses because that's what you are when you're in one, is you are a rock star traveling down the road. And those are the big kind of bus style, as kind of I've been describing. And those have the big front windows on there, so you can see a big panoramic view. And that's my favorite way of RVing, is getting in those motorhomes and hitting the open road, because it's comfortable, you have a good time, you have a bathroom, that's a plus, and you just get to see all of that which is in front of you. So that's my favorite way. But the question was, what are your thoughts and what are your opinions on this C versus the trailer? And the first thing I would say is cost. If you don't have a truck already, then that trailer and the truck is going to probably cost you around about what it would for that motorhome. And so if you already do have the truck, then you're already at an advantage if you're using it day to day.
So you'll probably want to gear more towards the trailer if you already have a truck.
More so. I mean, unless, if you're Bill Gates and you have as much money as you want to spend, I mean, you can spend it however you want. But most of the time people want to get in something that they can enjoy at an affordable price. And so if you already have the truck, that is a really great way of getting into camping. And that's exactly what her question was, because she doesn't have an RV. So she's like, hey, Willy, what do I need to do? And so we started talking about it. And the first thing, like I said, is cost. So if you don't have the truck, then the motorhome, that might be a really easy way to get involved with it yourself, thinking about the big picture, because that's what it is a big picture. You start with the RV, but you're looking at the big picture because you're trying to make memories. You're having fun. You're going down there. It's not necessarily about the journey, or it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And so you want to think about that big picture. So that's one thing that I always tell people. But another great thing that I love is that a motorhome is all in one. So if you don't know anything about camping, you don't know if you need a sewer hose, you don't know if you need this, you don't know if you need that, a motorhome has all of that for you.
And we're still talking the Class C.
Well, I'm just talking about in general.
In general,
this will be A, B, C. It doesn't matter what it is, because the Class C, you can get into that category, but overall, if you're talking about motorhomes versus trailers, that's the big picture, because that's what everyone's question is, hey, I'm just sitting here, I don't have a truck, I don't have a motor, what do I want to do? And it leads to, hey, where are you going? Who are you taking? What are you doing? There's a lot of those questions that you have to ask yourself personally. Me, I have the easy job. I have the facts and I have the RV, so I can show you the differences. And then you have to make the hard part of, which one do I want to do? And so the motorhome, I like it because it's all in one. So I don't necessarily have to think about, hey, did I grab my cord? Did I grab this? Did I grab that? It is all right there. You just need to bring yourself some fuel and you're pretty much good to go most of the time.
Turnkey.
Yes, that is exactly the term. So it is all there and it's all in one. And another thing is, so if you're towing, you have a pivot point back there, whether it's in your bed of your truck or if it's out on your hitch, you're going to have a pivot point. And so if you're not as experienced, if you're not driving trailers every day like Willy D, if you're not experienced driving bigger vehicles, the motorhome's probably going to be a little bit easier for you to get in because you don't have moving pivoting points. So a lot of people there are just really intimidated by driving these, and I really highly recommend
backing up.
Yes. So the great thing is cameras. They have cameras. You can see all the way around you. It makes it very easy. I tell people it takes about 4 miles underneath your belt, just going down the road to feel comfortable and then really turn that frown upside down. So
like your mustache.
Yes, it'll
mustache.
stand right up on itself. And so that for an inexperienced driver, it might be a little bit easier for them to necessarily, they just focus on one thing, going down the road, making sure that you don't have anything beside you, because like I said, they do have the cameras, and so it makes it really easy. So you as a driver, it's going to make it where you're not having to work that hard. I really, really like that. And if you're just getting into it, that's a great way to learn.
Let me ask you a quick question. Yes. So you were talking about with the trailer having a truck. Are there any other types of vehicles that can tow a trailer, like, say, a Jeep?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can. I just use the term truck just because that's the most common, per se. But, yeah, you can tow it with a Jeep, a van. Some people even come in with cars. Now, you got to watch your tow ratings and stuff and make sure you have brake controls. But you can tow a RV with a lot of different things. And if you have, like, an F-150, some people think, I need to get a big dually diesel. Or No, absolutely not. Most of those F-150s nowadays can tow 10,600 pounds, which is just about any travel trailer I have on the lot.
Nice.
And it gives you a lot of options. And if you like fifth wheels, you still have a lot of options within the fifth wheel line as well. As I keep saying, Wade's RV, hundreds of RVs, 30 of the top brands. We can help you out. If you have the vehicle and you want to go camping, bring it in and say, hey, this is what I have. How do I make this work? And if you have something that you can't, you could just tow it behind your motorhome or something.
So if I've got my vehicle and I'm bringing it in and I want to try to find a trailer to tow, where do I go? Where are you guys?
So we're located at 161st and Highway 75. That is our super center. Now, here in about 60 days, that might get a little bit more complicated because we're expanding. We're opening up more locations. So we're actually opening up 2 locations this year. We're opening one up in Goldsby, and that's going to be open around March. And
that's near Oklahoma City, right?
It's right next to Oklahoma City, about 30 minutes away. So it's just a hop and a skip. So if anyone is from the Oklahoma City area, you have got to come see us whenever we open up in March. It's going to be super, super, super cool. And then we're also opening up out at Keystone Lake. We're going to be opening up another location out at Pier 51, and we're going to be that's
a great location.
It's an awesome location, and I think I might try to convince them to give me like a permanent spot. I might just have to move out there to Wade's RV. I spend so much time at Wade's RV. Why not just live there? So
they just need to maybe duplicate you or clone you.
If I had about 3 Willy D's running around, I can only imagine what the world would be. Yes, let me tell you, it would be something interesting.
Actually,
for sure.
I think it would be absolutely awesome.
It'd be great. Yeah, there'd be a lot of bronc riders on the top. That's for sure. We'd have a lot of them. But yeah, so it's really easy for the unexperienced driver. You have a great view. As I said before, you have a restroom. So if you have a motorhome and you're going down the road, it's super nice because you can just pull right on over, walk on to the back, use the facilities, and you don't have to look for a gas station. You don't necessarily have to plan your trip all around that. You can just focus on driving, which me, as you know, I drive a lot, so I'm focused on getting to my destination. I'm focused on getting there, making some time. And so with that, you're going to save a lot of time from walking from your vehicle into the gas station, grabbing you a candy bar and a Mountain Dew and coming back out. you're going to the bathroom, going, and you're done. So that's really, really nice having that all in one package. Traveling in the motorhome, it's fun. It's like being in a van with all your friends. You get to sit there, you're having conversation, you're having a good time. It's just a different experience. Everyone rides in a car every single day. We know what that feels like. We know what it's like to sit in the back seat, but who got to sit in a recliner going down the road,
Not
going
only
to the Grand
that,
Canyon?
but I just had a thought. So you're going with your friends, they're in the back, you're driving the motorhome. Can they go back there and cook something?
I haven't ever tried it, but I'm sure you could.
Oh, well, at least maybe the microwave.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
how convenient is that?
You
So
could
if
if
you guys wanted some microwave popcorn while you're traveling down the road, you could do it.
Totally doable. You can tell your buddy. My friend Connor comes with me on almost every single camping trip. I'd just be like, hey, Connor, go make some popcorn. And you can just walk back there and pop it. Now, if you're making like ramen noodle soup or something with water splashing around,
maybe not.
Might be a little bit more of a risky situation. But popcorn, anything microwavable ought to be pretty easy. So you can absolutely do that. That's a great advantage. You can also go back there and sleep. So if you are trying to make those times, I go down to Vegas every year for the National Finals Rodeo, and that is a long drive. And so we are rotating drivers, and we're, passing around the steering wheel and stuff. And it's nice to have a full bed. I've slept in the back of a truck many a time, and it is nice to actually have a real bed. And so you have that feature with you as well. And like I said, it's just a totally different experience. Now, the other thing is, whenever you store it, if you don't have a truck, let's say you live downtown Tulsa, what are you going to do with it? If you have that motorhome, it's really easy. You can just park it at pretty much any storage facility. Now, whenever you start getting a truck and a trailer, then you're getting longer links, multiple items, more complicated to store.
So that's another benefit of getting the motorhome.
Another great benefit is going to be your storage options for that. Now, let's go over to the trailer side and kind of talk about some advantages, disadvantages of trailers. So whenever I say trailer, it can be either a bumper pull or a fifth wheel. I'm not putting any in any category, but this is just kind of overall compared to motorhomes. As we stated earlier, cost. That is going to be a huge factor, because with a trailer, you're just dealing with a trailer. You're not dealing with a brand new Ford V8 engine in there or a brand new Cummins 350 diesel. You got to pay for that somewhere. And so the cost factor just starting off the gate is significantly less. And if you already own that truck day to day, like I said, it's just a variable. You only have to think about one. So you have that. The other thing is going to be space. So you can obviously get really short ones, or you can get ones that have one slide out, two slide outs. But overall, if you're trying to go big, you can only go so big in a motorhome because there's only so much space to put those slides in, put them out. With that fifth wheel, you can get longer, you got bigger, taller. It's just going to be a lot more space overall.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
when I think of a trailer, I think of something much smaller.
No. These things can go close to 45 feet before you have to start doing custom ones. Yes, and close to 8 feet wide. It's incredible the amount of things that they can put in there. I mean, wine coolers, dishwashers, washer, dryer, any amenity that you have at your home, they have it in there, and then they might have a few extras as well. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite features that they have in a lot of these trailers is something called an infinity light, which is just a light, and it has like a mirror or something, and it just makes it look like it goes on forever. It's a trinky thing, but it's really cool. So there's lots of different things that they have in there.
Wow. So you're right. The hard part is going to be choosing, I think.
The hard part is choosing.
Even between the trailer and the motorhome.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have the equipment. You just have to make that decision, and that's one of my favorite processes is kind of helping you. I do it like house hunters. Like, you tell me what you want to do, let's go look at 3, and then we'll narrow it down. And then whenever we get to that too, the convenient thing about having these things on wheels and they're not houses, I can put them right next to each other, plug them in, and then you can literally bounce like a ping pong ball, talk about the advantage of this one, talk about the advantage of this one. And it's fun because you get to kind of work those problems out and see, because I've been camping a lot, you may not have. I can tell you, hey, this would be, something you want to think about. This may not be something you want to think about. I was talking to someone about a camper, and their main decision was focused on the outside kitchen cooking device. And overall, in their comparison, I said, I know you love that device, but we can put it on something else. You might want to focus on this. And they're like, oh, wow, yeah, light bulb turned on. They're like, yeah, you're right. Slow down. That's a cool feature, but let's look at the big picture with this camper. So there is a lot of space. There is a lot of features, and that's something that you will find on a lot of trailers is they do have different features that motorhomes and stuff don't have just because of the nature of the beast. And so they put a few extra things in there. Motorhomes do have some cool things as well. Automatic toilets was one of my favorite things they came out with this year.
Automatic? What does that mean?
Just like if you go to a restroom, but here
you mean
on
the automatic
ground.
flush?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, Wait a minute. What does this thing do?
No. So it's an automatic flush, and it's something that you would never think would have been an RV just because it's just something that's a little bit different. So they come out with stuff like that all the time, and so that makes it really nice. Another thing that I like about travel trailers or fifth wheels is the ability to go different places. So whenever you're in a motorhome, you are somewhat restricted on where you can go. You can't necessarily, I guess you could go ripping through the woods in a motorhome, but you're not necessarily going to be able to go off-roading, climb to very secluded locations. They make off-road travel trailers. So if you have, a truck with some off-road tires, you like to get really back there in the woods, you can get a camper trailer that very much pairs with your lifestyle, so you can go to those places. If you have a big 45-foot diesel pusher, 2-axle, I don't really see you climbing rocks or going through stuff.
Right.
It just doesn't, like I said, anyone can do anything.
You can try, but we wouldn't recommend it.
Exactly. And so that is a huge thing because it's all about, getting to that camp spot, getting to your location. I get a little bit of campsite jealousy if I see my neighbor having a really cool campsite. You can, like I said, you can go anywhere you want and pick your campsite. So it makes it really, really nice because you can get out there, you can get away from people. And that's what people are doing these days, the social distancing, getting out there. What I love, too, about having either a motorhome or a trailer, just RVing in general, is you can work anywhere you want. You can work remotely. Right now, take advantage of the office being closed. Go out there. Go out to Keystone Lake. Go out there to the Grand Canyon. Go to Robbers Cave and experience these places because you're going to turn around and guess what? One day you're going to be back at the office. And so experience that and enjoy it while you can. Take your RV and go out there and explore the world. That's a huge benefit of just RVing in general. So I love that. Another thing is sleeping space. Whenever we talked about them going longer, having bigger slides, whenever you don't have to deal with that whole steering compartment. Your cockpit up there, you got your steering wheel, you got your seats, you got your engine. That takes up a lot of space. I always tell people everything has to have its space. Well, where are you going to put more beds? Right where that stuff is. And so whenever you have a travel trailer and stuff, many times you're going to have many more bed options than if you look at a motorhome because you can just pack the entire trailer out with beds. They'll have bunk rooms, literally just a full back room where, let's say, it was always me and my cousins and my brothers camping. So me and the boys could literally go right back there, shut the door, and our parents would never hear us. So if that's something that appeals to you, they make stuff like that. They make them where it's just tons of bunks where you can, go out in the living room. There's more sleeping areas, and you just don't see that necessarily because everything has to have its space. So if you're looking to have more people, that is another thing that's nice as well. Also, whenever you have more people, what else are you going to need? More bathrooms.
And so,
with motorhomes, they typically have a bathroom. Some of them have a bath and a half. And so with a trailer, you can get 2 full bathrooms, which makes it super nice as well. Many of them have them attached to that bunk room. So it's like having 2 campers, basically. You have one up front, you got one in the back, and you got that living room in the middle kind of conjoining them together. So it's a really, really cool thing. And that's just what you see with, our camping trailers. You're going to see that. You're going to have more space. You're going to have different options like that. So for me, I've always heard you want to travel there in a motorhome. Some of those experiences we were talking about, the big windows, having all your buddies around you, you sitting in a recliner, making popcorn. You want to travel there in a motorhome and then set up in a fifth wheel or, because you're just going to have so much more space if you're staying for a long time. So a lot of people have different opinions. Obviously, you can't combine them both. So it's more of a distinction. What do you want to do? With having a trailer or having a fifth wheel, one thing I love is you have that secondary vehicle. While you do have another element with it, you have that secondary vehicle. So whenever you get out to your campsite,
leave it.
Let's say
hop in the truck and take off.
You can go to a restaurant. Yeah, you can go to a restaurant. You can explore the town because that's something I love about traveling town to town and city to city is you get to experience that town itself, see the different things that town has to offer. If I'd never been to Tulsa before, this would, it'd just blow my mind at this city just because it's so cool. Now, if I've been here forever, so it's just kind of like another day whenever I come to Tulsa. Go explore those towns, and by having that secondary vehicle, you can absolutely make that happen. So that is a really, really great advantage of it. There's ups, there's downs to both of them, and you just have to make that hard decision yourself of what you want to choose.
We've got about a minute and a half or so left. Tell us where Wade's RV is again, and then also where you're going to be next weekend.
So next weekend, we're going to be...
kind of next weekend. Not really next weekend, but after next weekend, the first Monday, February 1st.
February 1st through 7th.
Correct.
We're going to be at the Tulsa State Fairgrounds. So we're going to be right in that building that's right next to the Golden Driller. Just look for the Golden Driller and walk right inside, and you're going to see all of our smiling faces at Wade's RV. So we're going to have those travel trailers, fifth wheels, and every one of those motorhomes I was telling you about today out there. So come on out and see us. There's great deals. Like I said, thousands and thousands. And on many of these motorhomes, tens of thousands off, so you can save an incredible amount. But if you want to come see us at the store, we also have those deals going on, and we're located at 161st and Highway 75 out there in Glenpool. It's just 5 minutes south of Tulsa Hills, so come on out and see us. It's really hard to miss us. We're just right off the highway, so come on out and see us, 161st and Highway 75, or give us a call, 918-291-1011, and tell them Willy D sent you.
And a couple of new locations coming soon.
Oh, yeah. We got one opening up in Goldsby. We have another one opening up on Keystone Lake, and we have our 2 original locations in Sapulpa and then out in Glenpool as well. So Wade's
Sounds
RV is
good.
just expanding, 30 different brands. We're getting more every single day, and we have hundreds of RVs on the lot.
Why
So
do I want to deal with Wade's RV?
you want to deal with Wade's RV because we have the experts who actually camp. I mean, would you want to buy an RV from someone who's never camped?
No.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. We actually camp. That's number one. We also have the best brands, and we have the best service department, and most importantly, we have Wade. He makes it easy for us to work every single day because he's out there in the trenches. He has his own workshop. He has his own bay in the workshop. I mean, what owners do that? So he has spent every bit of his time making sure Wade's RV is the best experience for you as a customer. We have our RVs plugged in. They're powered up. The best brands, the best service. Why would you go anywhere else?